Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Aline Giroux.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. I know I am the last session of the day, but it's got to be a lively one. So first of all, thank you for joining me. Today, my name, first off, is Aline Giroux. I'm the Senior VP and Business Unit Executive for the Mainframe Application and DevOps area. And joining me will be Srinivasan Rajagopal, also known as Raj, and Mano Rao from Director of IT over at General Motors. So if I think about today's world, I think about my kids. And my daughter, who's in college, she has a certain amount of money to work with during the school year that she makes during the summer. And I think about every time she goes out to Subway or, buying clothes or whatever it may be, the first thing that she does is checks her account to see how much money she has in it, uses her ATM, checks her account again, maybe moves money between her savings and checking account. And in today's world, what's happening is that is driving the MIPS up on the mainframe, which is why we're seeing a 63% MIPS growth on the mainframe. There's 55% of our applications are touching the mainframe. With the example I just used of my daughter constantly checking her account from her mobile device is drawing more touches to the mainframe. And why is that? Because 70% of that data resides on the mainframe. So if we think about business agility, there's 4 areas that we think about. Mainframe economics, being able to manage the growth of those MIPS on the mainframe, right? Our customers are trying to draw the line on the amount of money that they're spending on the mainframe, but how do they do that when the MIPS are growing 8 to 9% per year? The other area that is first of mind, especially in financial institutions or retail, is the security and compliance. And that's an area that we're very focused on at CA. Business agility, being in the DevOps area, is front and center for us. Being able to have that innovation velocity. Typically, if you look in the past on the distributed side of the business, they've been doing DevOps and they've been doing it very efficiently with the tools that they have. Now they're looking at it from a mainframe perspective and saying, I have this mobile to mainframe application. How do I bring that DevOps to the mainframe and be able to, again, get that innovation velocity and time to market? And then automation and management, you can't have the dev without the ops. So you have the workload automation and deploying that workload in an operational intelligence on the automation and management side. And then in the middle, you have the skills gap for the mainframe. As we have this aging workforce, we need to be able to close that skills gap between the people that are retiring and the people that we're bringing in to do the work on the mainframe. So, drinking our own champagne. We started maybe about 7 years ago. We moved from waterfall to agile, and we also standardized on our own software. So again, drinking our own champagne with Endevor. So we have about, what we've done is we've moved to a continuous delivery model where we're delivering these releases and features to our customers on a continuous basis. So I'll use Endevor for instance. Endevor is not only the source code management system that we have standardized at CA for all of the mainframe application or the mainframe development, but it's also, if we look at what we're doing in the development of Endevor, as a feature is ready, we're just shipping it out to our customers. So our customers are getting the value of these features within Endevor as soon as the development's done. Not only that, they have input into what we are developing with our end of sprint reviews. So we're bringing the customers into these end of sprint reviews and then being able to deliver to them what they saw. So we're doing this across the mainframe in all of our products. And we have, within Endevor today, we have about over 100 million lines of code that is managed in Endevor in an agile environment across our whole mainframe stack of products. Not only do we see the benefit internal to our own products, but also our customers are seeing the benefits of our products. And again, if you take Endevor, we have a Fortune 100 customer that has standardized on Endevor and also married it to our workload automation product and is able to deliver 500 package promotes per month. They'll be able to deliver 250 test packages per month and then 150 production. In addition to that, the announcement that we made today, and Raj will come up and talk about what our roadmap is, with the new release automation for Z, we're able to take those applications that are mobile to mainframe and deploy them to the enterprise, whether it's a Linux, Unix, or a ZBox. So being able to help our customers get to market faster helps with their business agility. So if I look back, having been in this business for a few years now, quite a few years actually, the old days waterfall, my developers would go off, we'd plan a release, say 18 months, 24 months out, my developers would be heads down, 12 months into it, they'd pop their head up and say, oh, you know what, not ready. It's supposed to go to QA next week, but you know what, I need another 3-4 months, and you wouldn't know that at the time. So then you're scrambling to say, okay, we were supposed to go to market at this time. Do we sacrifice the amount of testing time that we're doing? How do we make up that time? I don't have that problem today in an agile environment. Our development teams are meeting each day in their stand-ups. They're talking about what they did in the last 24 hours and what they're going to be doing in the next 24 hours. At the end of each sprint, whether it's a 2-week or a 4-week sprint, we know exactly where we're at. Not only that, we're building tests today for what we're developing today. We're not building the test 9-12 months later. So we're actually finding the problems within our code at the time that we're writing the code, not when we've moved on to something else. We're building that automation into our process with each sprint. So if you look at what we were doing yesterday or today, with long lead times to test, monthly, or in many cases, many customers today are doing 6-month, 12-month releases still, where you need to be able to compete with your competitors out in the marketplace. You need to be able to get to market faster. And how do you do that? Also, the developers want the tools. They want the tools to be able to get to market faster, especially we're bringing a lot of new people into this industry of the mainframe industry. These younger people coming in, they want the tools that they've learned in college, whether it be Eclipse or some of the open source tools that are out there. There's no more days where the mainframe application developer is being separated from the distributed application developer. It's starting to come together. Again, those mobile to mainframe applications. And then poor documentation. I don't know about you, but I know in some of our older products, the documentation was not there. We didn't think about writing the documentation then. So now today we have clear governance and traceability to what we're doing. So if you think about the voice of the customer, think about your development processes. How long does it take you when you find a problem, how long does it take you to fix that problem? Again, going mobile to mainframe. Usually it takes it's usually fixed pretty quickly on the distributed side, but when it gets to the mainframe, what we're hearing from our customers is they don't have the tools and the processes on the mainframe, and that's where it's taking the time. So think about it. How long does it take you to move from a new idea all the way to production? Or if they find a problem, how quickly does it take you to fix that problem? How are you tracking your dependencies, your test scripts? How many test scripts do you have? Do you know if those test scripts ran? How are you tying it back? Many people are keeping spreadsheets of their runs and what's tested and how many problems that they will find. And then how do you automate those release processes? Again, how are you pushing out those changes that you're making? How are you pushing them out to your test systems? Are you testing in a performance environment? And how do you bring it all the way to production? And then we're trying to move away from the 3270. I don't know how many of you have had the chance to go and look at the continuous delivery demos that they're doing. If you go over there and look at the demo, you're not seeing the green screen. What we're doing is everything is being done in a UI environment. We're moving away from the green screen and making it more productive for our application developers and our systems programmers to be able to work in this environment. So with that, I'd like to bring up Raj to walk us through the roadmap.
Thank you, Eileen. Guys, can you hear me fine? All right. Okay. Back there? Yeah. Folks, my name is Raj. I'm really excited to talk to you about what we've done to solve the challenges that Eileen talked about in the previous slide. One thing I'll say, there are 4 key principles that we used ourselves. We used agile development, lean startup, DevOps, and design thinking. These were 4 constructs that we used to solve the problems for ourselves and our customers. And today we are happy to introduce an end-to-end mainframe DevOps solution. The best part about this is we have worked a solution that is an extension of the distributed side of the house. So when we talk to our customers, many of our customers were telling us that they already have realized the value of Agile and DevOps on the distributed side, right? And they were asking us, how can I extend that value proposition onto the mainframe where it makes sense? And how can I create solutions particular to the mainframe where it is needed? So we took that seriously, and we today have introduced key solutions that I'm going to be talking about. I'll talk about solutions that'll be available as, like in the next few weeks. And I'll also talk about solutions that will be available a few months from now. So 2 value propositions that we had in mind was we wanted to help our customers reduce the time it takes to go from idea to production. The second thing is we wanted to help our customers reduce the time it takes to respond rapidly to issues they find in production. So these 2 things, we took it seriously when we were developing the solutions for the mainframe. So the good news is Gartner has rated us #1 in the app dev and DevOps space because we are showing these value proposition. We are literally going from an app dev world to a DevOps world because we no longer see the difference. We believe that app dev and DevOps are becoming one and the same. Continuous delivery, continuous testing are becoming one and the same, and we are just evolving there. And we are showing thought leadership, we are showing key deliverables, and so we are getting good reviews from not only our customers, also from our analysts. So there are 4 key things that we've done in order to foster DevOps for the mainframe. Simply put, we have solutions to help our customers develop, test, deploy, and operate. And we've done that taking the principles of DevOps that will help our developers develop swiftly, testers test early and often, deployment teams, especially operations and development teams, to deploy solutions reliably, and operations team to operate not only their pre-prod environments, but also their production environments, efficiently. So, and the underpinning of this is we've built on our core base of Endevor software. Now, this is not to say that our solution is exclusively Endevor based, but this is to acknowledge that many of our customers use Endevor as their source code management system, and we've simply built on top of that, and we built a heterogeneous solution that'll work if you have other solutions as well. And one of the things that we paid close attention to is this notion of feedback loops from the point of development, testing, deployment, operations, and back. So, I'll expand on some of the pieces. Developing swiftly, we partnered with IBM to introduce CA development environment for Z systems. We have a choice. Well, we could write our own IDE, or we can partner with the best of breed. That's why we chose to do the best of breed. So what we've done is, by partnering with IBM, taking advantage of some of the core capabilities around developing swiftly and introducing CA-specific solutions around debugging, intelligent program analysis, around testing, and around deploying efficiently, we've come up with a solution that is a win-win, not only from an IBM and CA point of view, but from our customers' point of view. The second area that I wanted to highlight is around testing early and often. You see, you probably know some of our testing tools, Intertest, SimDem, FileMaster, MAT. We've taken all these tools, we've surfaced that as first-class Eclipse plugins, which can be used on a vanilla Eclipse, any other Eclipse-based solutions, including RDZ, or our new CA development for Z solution. So what this does is, from a development and testers point of view, it gives you a holistic environment to develop, debug, and test. On top of that, in the context of DevOps, to foster continuous testing, we've extended the value propositions around service virtualization, test data management, to include mainframe assets. For example, with service virtualization, we have improved our KICS and IMS solutions. From Test Data Manager, we have improved our IMS DB2 and vSAM solutions. And the best part, where it makes sense, we've actually integrated it tightly. For example, Test Data Manager integrates with FileMaster to provide an awesome test data management solution when you deal with vSAM database or IMS database or DB2 database. So it promotes the notion of test early and often, because what we found was many times in this testing cycle, a large amount of time was spent on figuring out what's the right test data to use and figuring out how do you configure environments for the purposes of test. So we've made those solutions available so that you can test early and often. Now, the kicker is, having focused on helping our customers develop swiftly, test early and often, we wanted to focus on creating an environment where there is separation of concerns so that developers can think about developing software efficiently. Operation teams can think about creating an environment to produce enterprise-ready software every time a developer checks in a code. And so when we took that idea through our design thinking process, and we're looking around how do we make this idea a reality, we came upon the notion that we should extend the value proposition of release automation for ZOS, which will work whether you have Endevor, whether you have a third-party SCM or not, but creating that notion of delivery pipeline so that every change your development team makes can automatically go through this pipeline, and each stage of this pipeline will subject your code base to specific quality measures, so you can guarantee that changes will succeed going through the pipeline or fail, so that the developers can know immediately, not 6 months from now or 6 weeks from now, when they have the muscle memory of their development work that they've just done 15 minutes ago. See, this thing is happening in the cloud world. This thing is happening in the distributed world. We are extending that value proposition to the mainframe world. Now, we are not naive to say that you can go from idea to production on the mainframe in 15 minutes, because we know there are high fidelity processes in place because of the fact that you have millions of transactions happening on the mainframe. But what we are saying is you can guarantee that every change that goes through your system is automated through an enterprise-ready mechanism, so that you can pick and choose the right deliverable to hit production. Right? So that will help you go from from months to weeks to days, and that's something that we want to do through release automation. Finally, in order to operate efficiently, we've introduced the notion of operational intelligence, which includes predictive analytics capabilities, so that from an operations point of view, in a time scale, it'll monitor activities and it'll look for anomalies in your patterns, and it'll look for abnormalities and respond rapidly, help you respond rapidly. So these are 4 pieces that we have delivered. In fact, the operational intelligence is available as of today. The the release automation for ZOS will be available hopefully by the end of this month. We are hoping sooner than that. The develop and test solutions, some of which are already available, and those extensions will be available soon enough in the next couple of weeks. So we are pretty excited to offer a holistic solution so that you can do true continuous delivery on the mainframe. So what saying is one thing, seeing a demo is another. So when I mentioned earlier that we use those 4 principles to come up with this solution. We asked ourselves what it means for an individual developer, in addition to team of teams concept, and what it means for operations leaders, operations team, to realize this value in their day-to-day environment. So from a development team point of view, how can we deliver software quickly and ensure higher quality without having to waste too much time and effort? And how can we how can we do that in a continual basis? That was one primary question that we asked. From an operations point of view, how can we create an automated system that ensures that quality, so that developers can focus on developing software, and operation teams can focus on ensuring higher quality deliverables get into production, right? So those 2 questions were paramount in us coming up with this solution. It's about a 3-minute demo, so let's get the demo started. Let's see how it goes.
In my Eclipse workspace, I have a plugin to my Agile PPM solution, and I have a query defined showing me all the user stories assigned to my team. I'm going to take the next user story. I'm going to mark it in progress to let my team know I'm working on it. And as you'll note, I'm working on user story 71. I also have a project checked out into my Eclipse workspace. I'm going to go and update that workspace and indicate that I'm working on CCID user story 71. This essentially is a change control ID tag that will track all the changes I make against this user story, so that when I mark it complete, our solution will know exactly which changes to bundle up and send automatically through the pipeline. I'm going to make a change now to my program. And over here, I'm going to introduce a change into the ordering in our Kix program. And now essentially I'm going to mark my user story as completed. I'll save it, and from there the continuous delivery pipeline takes over. Okay, so while that's running, let me show you what's happening in the background. If we go over here to our package view and we do a refresh, we can see that a package has been created tagged to our user story. Now if we flip over here, we can see that I have set up a continuous delivery pipeline, which is a set of defined phases that I've created. In this case, I've got dev, integration, performance, and production set up as phases. And at each stage, I perform a deployment, I reconfigure some middleware, and then I run some tests against those middleware regions, in this case, Kix regions. And I can have, based on a catalog which I have set up, different tests running at different phases in the life cycle. And of course, if there's any problems, I expect this pipeline will notify me along the way of the progress. So I can go ahead and pick the next story and continue working while that's running. Looks like there was a problem. I got a notification in my IDE that something failed. Let's go take a look. Looks like we have an automated test failure in the quality assurance environment. Luckily, I can see that I've got the JES logs from the test brought right into the defect for my review. If we scroll down a little bit more, we can see it looks like there was a compare failure on one of the master control files. So now we've fixed the defect and we need to check in our changes. So I'll update my CCID to the defect ID so that the changes get tracked against it. I'll undo my order by change and save it so that it gets checked into the source control system. And now I'll go to my defect, and just like I did for the user story, I'll mark it as completed. Okay, so this time our change made it all the way through from development through to production. And we can see over here that as the change was moving through the life cycle, I was being notified of its successful deployment in my flow doc. So I got notifications of failures as defects in my IDE, and I can also see in my flow the change is moving successfully from stage to stage.
All right. Was that cool or what? Yeah. So, that is a 3-minute, snippet of a demo. There is a live demo pad there. After this session, I highly recommend you go and see it live. Juan is our product owner who helped us build this, and he'll help you demo that for, hey Juan, hey guys. So what I want to emphasize a couple of things here. First, what you saw was the developer being confident enough to check in his or her changes and go forward with the next set of work, because he or she knows that the system will inform them if something goes wrong, which is exactly what happened. The developer was working on the next set of user stories, and an information was provided to the developer where they live so that they can take remedial action, right? The second thing that you saw was the developer did not worry himself or herself about, oh, I got to configure this test environments. I got to think about these variables. I have to think about all the test cases. Oh my God, it's going to take me, it's only 7 lines of code. It's going to take me 3 weeks before I complete my tests. No longer that's the case, right? Because the operations team have created an environment that will dynamically configure test environments for them, and you saw that through Kix configuration in this case, and we support IMS and other configuration environments. And more importantly, we also manage the relationship between various assets produced: the test asset, the test data, the dependent services, and so on and so forth. So you no longer have to manage Excel sheets worth of information, sometimes running around thousands of rows with 5 or 10 columns against it, to know what did I actually test, which passed, which failed. We do that through the catalog. All these capabilities are built keeping the simple notion that we want to find and eliminate waste, find and eliminate where it takes long time, eliminate that so that developers and operations folks can be more productive. So that's what you saw this in this demo. The best part is it's real. You can go see it, and in a few weeks you can touch and play yourself. All right. So let's go to the next. So when we talked to many of our validation partners, customers, and even some of our analyst team, they're saying pretty cool things about what we have delivered. So that gives us a lot more confidence. We've been working on this for a while now, about 6-7 months. We've been working judiciously. We've been very quiet, working with various teams, and you can see how our customers are responding. So these are some of the early validations that we've gotten from our customers. This information will be available to you, so you can read more about them. But it's really heartening to see that what we are building is resonating in the marketplace and helping our customers. So finally, from a roadmap point of view, the way we are looking at, the way we are evolving app dev into a DevOps solution is we are looking at a foundational DevOps solution, and Endevor is key to that foundational solution because it's the SCM, it's the popular SCM on the mainframe, and that's where it's sort of the fulcrum, it's sort of the point where developers and operators come together because code gets checked in there, right? That's where the build happens. So from that point of view, we've done two things, breadth and depth. We've made changes to Endevor. We've taken advantage of some of the critical object models in Endevor that will promote the notion of atomicity when you check in changes. So what that means is when you check in a set of files, they will be treated as one logical unit, so that when you kick off a long build and it's a 5-hour build, 4.5 hours your build succeed, and the last half-hour build fails. Why? Because one of those files that you checked in had some problem. No longer that's the case. Either all those systems go in together or none at all. So we've made that improvement. We support Java-based solutions. So if you have development activities happening on the distributed side of the house, and if you want to treat mainframe as a target deployment, but you want to take advantage of the processes that you may have put in place on Endevor, now you can use Endevor to be the deployment manager, if you will, along with release automation to affect that cross, sorry about that, to affect that cross-platform solution. Finally, we have the lifecycle framework with our ALC, Application Lifecycle Conductor solution that we have integrated with our popular tools. And on top of this, we have built 3 key pillars: ability to develop, ability to test, and ability to deploy, which is what you saw. So I'm very excited. I hope you're excited too. And if you want to know more, go to the demo booth. And let me turn it over back to Aline, and we have some more interesting things to discuss.